Hi, this is Joe Chambers. Welcome to Musicians Hall of Fame Backstage, the Vault Series. Today's clip was shot back in 2005 at Masterlink Studios here in Nashville. I was lucky enough to be invited to the Prairie Wind sessions with Neil Young, and also lucky enough to be able to interview one of my favorite steel guitar players, Ben Keith. Everything that Ben did, from I Fall to Pieces on, was phenomenal. But for me, the work that he did with Neil Young is just off the charts. I could listen to Old Man 24/7, and I have. I hope you enjoy it too, and if you do, be sure to hit like, subscribe, and the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new content. And once again, one of my favorites, Ben Keith.
My name's Ben Keith, and play steel guitar, and little guitar and bass, piano, horn, alto sax, and that's about it, I guess.
And so, where are you from, Ben?
Kansas originally, Fort Riley, Kansas. I'm an Army brat.
What's your first recollection of picking up a musical instrument?
Well, I bought an old guitar from a friend of mine in high school, and it was an old, I forget what kind it was, but it was kind of cheap, and I played it all the time, but I played it so much that I got a bone filling on my finger here. I bruised a bone, so I couldn't play it anymore. So I got my sister's lipstick tube and tuned it up like a steel guitar and started playing it like that. And then finally got an electric steel guitar and learned all the Jerry Byrd songs, and he was my idol. And I saw Hawkshaw Hawkins on TV one time, and he didn't have a steel player, and that was when everything was done live. So I called him up on at the studio and said, could I come audition for him? And you know, I didn't know anything but Jerry Byrd songs, and that's when Jerry Byrd and Chet Atkins had their show on WSM. And he said, yeah, meet me at the studio at WSM, you know, and they had just finished their program, Chet and Jerry, and so they left, and I went into the studio with Hawkshaw, and Jerry's guitar was sitting there, and mine was just an old homemade steel guitar, you know, and it was like a painted piece of tuba six,
Yeah.
but it had Gibson parts on it.
Uh-huh.
But I asked Hawkshaw, I said, if it's okay to use Jerry's guitar, and he said, oh, I'm sure it will be okay. So I played Jerry's guitar, and he said, okay, play me something. So I played one of Jerry's instrumental songs. He said, okay, play me something else. So I played another one, Jerry's song. And he said, okay, play something else. So I played another one of Jerry's songs, you know. And he said, okay, well, give me your number and I'll call you. And I thought, what the hell am I doing here? You know, I should be back behind the plow. And I got up and went up to the elevator and turned around, and Jerry put his arm around me and said, don't give up. Said, you really got a good touch. And if it hadn't been for that, I'd have quit right then. But he encouraged me to keep on playing, and he's been a good friend ever since. Well, he just died here lately. It was really a shocker, but he was in Hawaii. So he moved out there where they really appreciate his music, because he was the tops. He was the best. And about a year after that, I came to Nashville and went to work with Hawkshaw. He didn't even remember me auditioning for him or anything. And then I went to work with Farron Young and for about 6-7 years, and then recorded I Fall to Pieces with Patsy Cline. It was the first record I ever played on, and it was like, you know, I thought, well, this is easy. Hell, this is a snap. But then I started doing session work in Nashville, and
How'd you get to Nashville?
I lived in Bowling Green, or Alberton, Kentucky, right outside of Bowling Green. My father was in the Army, and he moved to Fort Knox, and then he retired to Bowling Green. And yeah, it's only 65 miles or something. So I just came down in 1956. I came down, joined the Union, and started playing with Hawkshaw, and then Farron, and then Neil came to town, Neil Young, and
What year was that?
it was 70, I think, 69, 70. And he was in the session in Quadraphonic Studios, and he got together a band. They got Tim drumming on bass and Kenny Buttry on drums, and he wanted a steel guitar player, so I just lived right down the street. So I came to the studio, and they were already in there cutting the songs, And I set my steel up and kind of slipped out in the studio and started playing, and we cut 5 of the songs on Harvest right in a row before I met anybody. And
You hadn't even met Neil?
no,
Yeah.
I hadn't met Neil or nobody. And I thought, this guitar player sitting beside him, I said, boy, who is that, man? That guy played really good. It was James Taylor. And so Linda Ronstadt was there, and they did all the background sitting on the couch, and we almost finished the record right that night. And he invited us all out to the ranch, out to Redwood City, out to California, to finish the record. We did Alabama and Back to the Country, and a couple more. And that was my beginning with Neil. I've been with him ever since, about 35 years. Since 70, yeah, been 35 years. And then I started producing Neil way back. I don't know. There comes a time, and before that. And then I produced Jewel's first record, which sold like 15 million. I thought she was just another hippie girl. You know, might sell 10, but it sold 15 million. And I went and bought a sailboat and moved to the Bahamas for 2 years and a half, and finally had to go back to work. So here I am.
Unbelievable. So, did you ever have any formal lessons?
No. Well, my mother taught me piano.
Steel guitar, you did it on your own?
No, yeah.
How did you learn to touch? I mean, how did you learn how to hold the slide
I
and,
don't know.
and the chording and the tuning and everything?
No. I just figured it out when I heard Jerry Bird's. I heard him, and I kind of figured out how it was tuned. I don't know how I did. I can't remember. But I know I used the same tuning he did. It's a C6, but yeah, he was a big inspiration for me.
What was your first real steel then, after the one you made? What did you start playing?
A Fender, a double neck Fender, and I had Shot Jackson put a pedal on it, and that was when Crazy Arms first came out, and it just flipped me out, you know, that sound and all. And that was Jimmy Day played on that. He was a good friend of mine too. And Buddy Emmons, and we all kind of hung out together in the olden days. I know me and Willie used to split a beer at Tootsie's because we didn't have enough to buy 2. We'd split one.
So, what's some of the artists that you played on, or records that we might have heard that before you hooked up with Neil?
Anne Murray's Danny's Song, and Ian and Sylvia. I was on their TV show for 2 years up in Toronto, and it showed down the West Coast. I don't think it ever showed in the South here, but it showed down through California and along the West Coast. And we had a pretty hot band back then. It was in the 70s, early 70s.
What kind of amplifier do you use?
Usually a twin reverb, Fender twin reverb.
Ever since there's been a twin reverb, pretty much?
Yeah. Well, I had some weird ones during the years. I had this Howard amplifier, and it was like weighed 1.5 tons, and I had to carry it up steps and stairs and all. That was back when my back was okay.
Yeah. And so, have you been on the road with Neil the whole time?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've been on several tours together.
What about when he's with Crosby, Stills, and Nash? Or
No, I wasn't on that. No.
Mhm.
He was just Paul Butterfield. Yeah. He was on. That was a little. I have a Christmas album called Seven Gates, and he played on that. Paul Butterfield played on that. The last thing he did before he died. And there's another one called The Two Wild Roads that he played on.
As a player, was there any special studios in town here, or anywhere that you're really?
Well, Masterlink is where we are now.
Yeah.
It's great. The guys are great, the engineers, and I wouldn't go anywhere else.
And did you ever used to record before Masterlink was here, at like Studio B and CBS?
Yeah, we did a lot of stuff in Columbia at the Quonset Hut.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we did Patsy and Quadraphonic, of course, But yeah, worked in several studios around the
What-
Castle.
Uh-huh.
That's where we did Comes a Time. The Castle.
A lot of people don't realize how many records, pop records, were recorded here in Nashville. I don't think.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
That was always.
Old Ways. Yeah, Old Ways. Oh yeah, we did that at what was that at? Woodland Street. That was we used that several times.
Any producers that you're particularly fond of?
No, just Chet Atkins told me one time, if you want to produce a record, just hire the best musicians that you can find and shut up.
That is so. You know what? Billy Sherrill said the same thing.
Yeah,
He said if you
just a little direction is all. You know, that's it.
you know, with the studios trend of getting to be smaller and smaller, actually personal studios, do you think that has changed the feel of records with doing it one by one instead of doing it like a lot of the guys did with the whole group of guys and everybody playing off each other? Or?
Yeah, that's the way I like to do it live, just everything live, you know, and that's where we're doing Neil Young right now, and we just did nine sides with him here at Masterlink, and we're going into the Ryman in August to do a live film with Jonathan Demme, who's a director. He directed Silence of the Lambs in Philadelphia, and I don't know how many. He's got several Oscars. So what he's going to want to do is do a live concert with Neil, doing all these with a string. We got 11 string players and 4 horn players and 8 singers and the Fisk Jubilee University Choir, and it's going to be a very different thing. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out. They got a $4 million budget, so I guess they're going to go for it.
Is he going to be doing all new songs or going and doing a variety?
The new stuff. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
And so, what do you do in between? When well, I know you did Jewel.
Mm-hmm.
Are you producing anyone else?
Yeah, we're doing an ode to Joe Maphis. It's an ode to Joe
Yeah.
Maphis with several different guitar players and a thing for dual tone records. I'm doing that also, and that doesn't start till the end of this month. But yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time.
No problem, Joe. I can't wait to see this thing get started. Boy, it's going to really be exciting. I really am honored to be involved in it.
Well, I look forward to having your display in the museum.
Right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time.